This week we are going to talk about simple C++ command. As we talked about last week, a computer does whatever you tell it to in a computer program. So this week we are going to tell it to do things. The first thing we are going to tell the computer to do is say, "Hello world." First, go to the first link in the doobly-doo and open it. This will pull up a online code writing environment. Once you have that open, click this little plus button, and we're going to rename this file to whatever you want. Now we are ready to start actually coding. If you've never done this before, you should be very, very excited. Open the Google Doc attached in the description. It's going to be the second link. Open that up and copy that text and paste it into the white space. When we write code, we are writing instructions for a computer. So usually when we type the words "hello world" onto a document, we'd be giving it to another person and they would see those words and know that the word said "hello world." But this is different. We're not just writing the words "hello world." We're actually telling a machine to put those words on a screen for us. It's kind of a paradigm shift from writing to other humans to writing instructions for a computer. As we talked about last week in the peanut butter sandwich game example, when writing a program, we have to take our end goal, our idea of what we want to do, and then break it into concrete steps in a computer's language. So how do we do that with "Hello World"? First, the word "cout." So type that, going back to our program, type C-O-U-T. What does this word mean? So this word is the command to tell a computer to speak. It stands for console output. The console, another word for the computer monitor, is going to display whatever we tell it to after the cout. Console output, cout. All right, next, type 2 angle brackets, and then space, then type our words, "hello world," exclamation mark, and then put quotes around the words. The quotes set these words apart as special words apart from the computer syntaxy commands that the computer will run. You might be wondering, what are the little angle brackets for? Okay, the angle brackets are the way that we feed our words inside quotes to the cout. So like I said, the cout is what tells the computer to print words to the screen. So this "hello world" is going to go inside the angle brackets into the cout, and that way the cout can know what to print to the screen. All right, we're almost done. So now add a semicolon. Semicolons are super important. So when you have like a recipe of instructions, you know that each instruction ends because usually there's like a period and then there's a new number, like 1, measure 1 cup of flour, period. 2, da 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 da. The way that a computer knows that an instruction has ended in C++ is because it sees a semicolon. Specifically, the way that the cout knows that it has ended, that the little angle brackets have gotten all that they're going to get, is because it sees a semicolon. So it says, okay, now there's a semicolon, so I can take what I found in the angle brackets, and now I can go print it to the screen. Notice on the line below that there's also a semicolon at the end of that command. I'll explain more of that later. But basically, there's going to be a lot of semicolons in our programs, and a lot of our errors are going to be caused by missing semicolons, because it's easy to miss them and not notice. Okay, now, before we move on, there's one more thing that I need to tell you. Cout does not work by itself. The computer will not know what it is unless you put these 3 letters, TD. And then you also need to put 2 colons. So now we are ready to compile our program. Now remember what compiling is. Compiling is where we give our semi-human language, called C++, to another computer program that will take it and turn it into ones and zeros that a computer's hardware can understand. It's so cool. It's so cool that we can do this. All right, go down to this little green box called the terminal. You may have heard of a terminal before. Usually in hacky movies, they're typing things into a terminal. So now you know you look super cool because you're typing commands into a terminal and running them. Ooh. So we're writing in computer language actually into the terminal. But we're just writing one line at a time. Then we push enter. And it's not C++. It's a different language. Don't worry about it too much. But we're still talking to a computer. We're still telling it things to do. So now we get to compile our program. Yay! G++ first program.cpp. And then push enter. Here comes the moment of truth. It worked! If it simply moves to the next line, it worked. If you get a bunch of other text, that means there was an error. Hopefully you can compare your code to mine and make sure it's like mine. And if it's like mine, it should work. Otherwise, post in the comments and hopefully I can help you. You can also Google the errors and see if other people can help you. All right. Now that we have our bytecode that can run on the computer hardware, we're going to run it by typing a.out. And now we see the output. It says, hello world. But wait a second, what's up with right where my cursor is? It says hello world SH. Oh, that's because SH is what it puts on every single line of the terminal, like up here. Going back to our code. So inside of hello world, we're going to put a backslash and then an N. This is the way of telling a computer to make an enter key in its print statements. So when it outputs text, the /n tells it to move to the next line before it outputs any more text. Alright, so save, and every time you make a change you have to recompile the code down to bytecode, which is the ones and zeros, before you run it. Alright, if you arrow up twice, you should be able to get to the G++ command once you're in the terminal. Push enter. Now it's compiled. Push arrow up again twice to get to a.out. And then push enter. And now we see hello world with an end line, is what it's called, before the next line. Your program's done. You can add other lines if you want to and mess with it. You can also Google and see if you can find how to input text. Congratulations! You have now written a C++ program. Thanks for watching!